And there are kids out there losing money on this, right?
Right now, Mumbai has so many cases in the police, or they would send them in a Gulf area where the ship is standing on the shore for 3 years, unable to maneuver.
And you were in the ocean. You were
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
Till date, there are no doctors on a cargo ship, no hospital. Like
Are
we
you
have
serious?
a hospital, the medicines are there, but we are not trained to administer any medicine.
So there's no medical personnel.
No. The ego and the inputs continuously bombarded onto
Right.
you does not make you think. That's why I said when I'm here on land, what I observe is you don't have time to think.
I think everybody listening to this podcast can relate to this. You don't have time to think. Karan Singh Nayyar is a YouTuber, but an unusual one. He's a sailor in the merchant navy who has a hectic and demanding life at sea, but still finds the time to follow his passion to create content. He himself is a videographer, editor, vlogger, and as I found out during my conversation with him, also a philosopher and a spiritual seeker. We spoke about the challenges that he faced becoming a content creator, how he developed the time management and mental reserve skills to become the person that he is, and what would he advise himself if he were to start all over again. If you are somebody interested in joining the merchant navy, becoming a sailor, or if you like me want to know how to develop a winning mindset, this podcast is for you. Listen to Karanveer sharing his story right here on the Sid Warrior Podcast. Enjoy. And we are back.
Thank you, Dr. Sid.
Thank you, Karanveer, for joining in. Welcome to the Sid Warrior Podcast. It has been a pleasure having you here.
Same, sir. Same, sir. I have been following you for 1 year since I saw you on Ranveer's show. And I learned a lot from that particular episode.
Thank you, brother.
Great.
Same here. I think I saw one of your vlogs where you were talking about containers and how the shipping happens.
Right.
Like I was, the first thing I thought of was vlogging from an unconventional background is incredible, because not a lot of people who are on ships have time for vlogging. So that was the first thing that hit me, that how do you manage?
Yeah. I mean, apart from social media and all the content creation, takes 10 to 12 hours in a day. And then I have to sleep for at least 6 to 7 hours for staying normal. Oof. And on top of that, one thing which I always do is workout. And without that, my day cannot go on. So you say 12 plus 6, 18 plus 1, 19. And still, I have 5 hours to give to myself. And that's where most of the, I would say, not sailors, because it's quite generalized then, most of the people who I observe, okay, sometimes entertainment is good, but you can do a lot in that 5 hours. For me, it is now video creation. I love the editing process. It's like meditation for me. Yeah, it's been great, and that has evolved me. And that has shown me my potential as in a creative way. I'm doing things in a very mechanical way on a ship.
Yeah.
It's all mechanical. You have procedures. There is not much of creative side to it.
Yeah.
It is mostly do this as per this protocol, and you cannot think beyond that. So that restrains our mind, and it always gives some resistance in the mind that it wants to do more. As a human being, I think our gift is to create.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Brother, I relate to this a lot because coming from a medical background, right from the time when I was a resident, even now as a doctor, our day is very well defined, especially during residency. Because the institute will decide कि आप कब उठोगे, कब नाश्ता करोगे, कब hospital जाओगे, कितना patient देखोगे, and how much time you have for yourself is very limited.
Right.
And different people can choose to spend that limited time differently.
Absolutely.
But how well do you organize your day can decide your entire life. And somehow those years in residency trained me as well to recognize the importance of creativity. क्योंकि आपको शायद आधा घंटा मिलेगा, 15 मिनट मिलेगा कुछ करने को, लेकिन वो 15 मिनट में अगर आपने खुद के लिए कुछ किया, तो you feel that sense of identity, you feel like you're reclaiming power, you feel like you're reclaiming yourself from the rest.
That's a very well put sentence, that you reclaim yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about, that we have a gift as a human being to create. See, I would say a dog, I don't know much about his level of mind, but I see from my observation that he is more interested in eating food, doing his normal chores, and he's not being able to create like we are doing, like this podcast. We are creating it.
It is a human privilege.
It's a privilege we have, and the essence of it is recognized.
Yeah.
Once you start creating something, it could be as minuscule as drawing something with a pen and paper, just like I did once upon a time on a ship, which showed me that okay, there is more to all of this. Just a small pen and paper with no background knowledge of painting, art, nothing.
What did you draw?
I drew a bird. So I was in a state of depression
Oh no.
on the ship.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I was like it happened with me.
Right.
Because let's talk about that just for a second. Man is a social being. Over there, you're totally isolated. You have your mates who are professionals, and I was a cadet, just a student, going on the ship for the first time. So I had absolutely no one. I just had my trainer and other people who were working in their own departments.
Right.
See, on a ship, there are hardly 25 people managing a 300 meter, 200,000 ton ship.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 20 that time.
Okay.
So that was the first encounter of me spiraling down into, I would say, negativity. It was more of negative thought pattern which I was absorbing more, because I had a small injury. I have never talked about it till now. I had a small injury which escalated so badly because there was no doctors on the ship. There was no medical, hospitals to close by. You are literally in the middle of the ocean.
And you were in the ocean. You were in the middle of nowhere.
Till date, there are no doctors on a cargo ship. No hospital. Like,
Are
we
you
have
serious?
a hospital. The medicines are there, but we are not trained to administer any medicine.
So there is no medical personnel.
No.
And
We are trained. We are trained for basic first aid.
so you have to manage yourself.
We have to manage and contain that whatever emergency is there, so that we reach a shore, which might take 7 days or 10 days. And if you're curious if helicopters can come and rescue you,
Exactly.
no. Helicopters have a range of, suppose, 400, 500 miles. They have to go and return, right?
Right.
The fuel is not that, they don't have that tank capacity.
Right.
And we are 3,000 miles away. So you have to divert the course to the nearest shore, still 3-4 days. And you, as a doctor, you know how critical are 3-4 days.
3-4 days can
Even
be
hours.
make or break.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even hours. So I was in that shock, I would
Right.
say. Shock of where is the doctor? Where is my mother?
Yeah.
I had no internet on the ship. I cannot communicate.
Yeah.
So I had a bad, I would say, situation, that it was a bad situation. I always wanted to join the army since my father's in the army.
Okay.
My mindset is more like I operate like that.
Yeah.
Having an injury and yet practicing, my mindset still broke me down,
Right.
because I was going too hard on myself, thinking you are a soldier,
Right.
but there are certain limitations we have, as you know, that however strong you are, the physical body might or might not repair. There's always a chance. So that limitation was there in my head, and the body-mind relation became really strong in a negative way. That my mind was giving signal that your body is gone. Actually, it was a minor thing, but it escalated to a very dire situation in my head. So I was sitting outside on the deck of the ship, just thinking about life, looking out on the high seas, and there was a seagull, a bird, which was flying just in front of me at the same speed of 20 knots, something like that. The maximum speed of a ship is 20-25 knots,
Right.
which comes to about 40 kilometers per hour. It was gliding along, and I just had a small notepad where I put tasks of what I have to do in the day on the ship. I thought, okay, I have a pen and a paper, just because I had nothing more to look forward to. I just drew that bird, And I would say that bird was my savior that day.
Yeah.
Still, I sometimes get visions of that bird. Like talking right now, I can see that bird still flying. It was like a savior which came at that moment
Yeah.
to bring out the other side of me, the side which dwells inward,
Right.
the side which takes you to a knowledge which is not materialistic, but more like your mind, intelligence,
Right.
ego. It went on to there.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need these moments where something from nature, it could be a human being, it could be an animal, it could be just a sunrise, but at different points different things reach out to you and give you hope.
Wonderful. Hope is the word.
Hope is the word.
Hope is the word.
It just reminds you that there is more to life than just that feeling of anxiety.
Right.
Very recently I was on a scuba diving trip. And I have gone scuba diving before. I had completed around 25 dives before this.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the first time I lived on a boat.
Right.
So it's called as a live aboard.
Wow.
And I was in the Similian Islands off the coast of Phuket, around 100 kilometers into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And on my second day of diving, I had already finished 7 dives. My body was not used to diving so much.
Right.
On the 8th dive, it was in the evening time, around 5:30, the light was coming down, it was getting a little dark underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And we went down up till 30 meters. And I suddenly, out of nowhere, felt the full weight of where I am.
In that condition where the buoyancy is different. Yes.
I suddenly realized that I'm in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
There is 30 meters of water between me and air.
The pressure of atmosphere plus the
atmospheric
pressure of water.
pressure. Yeah. My closest friends and family are hundreds of kilometers away.
Right.
I have 60 liters of oxygen
capacity,
with me.
Yeah.
And if I die here, that's it.
That's it.
Nothing can be done. And the suddenness of that event shook me because it came from nowhere and my heart rate started rising. I started panicking. I was wondering what is going on. And I understood what a panic attack is. Because when we are sitting here, we are talking, we think we can talk about panic attack like it's a rational thing. Like, okay, just breathe, come out of it. Think logically. But when a panic attack happens, you are not the same person. You are completely different.
Absolutely.
And in that moment, something very similar to what happened to you happened. Out of nowhere, this huge school of electric blue fish just came around me.
Wow.
And in that moment, the whole story flipped. I just realized that it is a privilege for me to be here.
Right.
I am in an incredible place and I'm not a religious person, but at that moment, I felt that God is wonderful.
God is wonderful.
Because it's everywhere. You feel like you're part of something much bigger than who you are.
Right.
But that feeling of being alone and out there in the ocean, ever since you and I connected and I knew that we were going to have this discussion, this was one question I've been meaning to ask you, that how, over a period of time, how often do you get that feeling of being out there in the ocean, disconnected? Maybe you don't have internet service, maybe you don't have cell service.
Right.
How often do you get that feeling that I'm disconnected from everyone?
So that's a very good question, and that is something which I love about the sea. Where you are disconnected, not choosing to be disconnected, but yet disconnected with the circumstances in the heart of the nature.
Right.
And I call it now a privilege because I see here on land, it's very tough to think. Over here, you are being fed by inputs and then you are thinking.
Yeah.
Over there is the natural environment. You have your work, yes, but like I told you, 5 hours remaining. You have the power to think.
Yeah.
And it can go either way.
Then we talk about going out into the ocean. We have this feeling कि हम लोग सब कुछ छोड़ के जा रहे हैं. We are leaving the world behind. It's reminiscent of Lord Ram leaving, India to go to Sri Lanka. There are so many people sailing away into the ocean. In fact, in the olden days, when they go on a ship, you don't know वापस आएंगे कि नहीं, क्योंकि they would be on a ship for 6 months, 7 months. They would be sailing around the world. There's no way to contact. There has always been a human fear of just going into the water, and this is evolutionary. I don't think we outgrow that. When we look at the ocean and you see somebody going into the horizon and disappearing, you feel like वो लोग छोड़ के गए, अभी वापस आएंगे कि नहीं. So for you on that ship, you must also have that thing of all the people that you are close to are now left behind, and then you will circle back to them after a month, 2 months, 6 months.
You said a very good word called fear.
Yeah.
I want to relate it with the disconnect.
Yeah.
We are not able to disconnect because of the fear.
Exactly.
The answer was there.
Wow.
The fear is why you are not able to disconnect. Right? For me, like going out to sea, it is the only way, in the sense you don't have an option. Yes, you have an option. Okay, you quit sailing. Okay, but suppose you have a responsibility at home. You are the only person providing money to your family. Then you don't have an option to quit. Right? There it teaches you how to break that fear, because you have to, otherwise you will not be able to survive on the ship. Your mind will always be at home, which is so dangerous, because a small operation which goes wrong can cause devastation to the entire world. And by that, I want to give an example of one ship which ran aground in Alaska. It's called Exxon Valdez. It's the biggest accident which occurred in relation to an oil spill.
How did it happen?
The mate on the ship at that time was drunk. So that was the case study. And there was a shallow patch. There's a draft of the ship. That means how deep it is inside the water. And that was, let's say, 20 meters. And that shallow patch must be 15 meters. So it ran aground. And it was an oil tanker carrying tons, thousands of tons of oil. And that grounding broke the tank. And there was so many tons of oil surfacing on Alaskan area where it is marine dense. The biodiversity over there, it's dense.
So many marine life,
planktons. The company got bankrupt to get that thing cleaned up.
Because of the mistake of one person.
One small thing. The company got bankrupt, so much marine destruction. It took around 10 to 15 years to clean up that oil. And you can fact check it with Google. So many years were, gone just to clean up, and so many marine life died because of one guy who was careless. And suppose, coming back to the point, the mind is at home and it wants to cope up with alcohol. And this is the result. That is why now there is no more alcohol on the sea.
At all? You don't have any alcohol?
No. And it is so wonderful. You don't need it. So, we were talking about fear, right?
We were talking about mindset now.
Let's talk about mindset. The mindset trains you to counteract this fear. It can train you to counteract. You can only build your own mindset. You can get inspired by information, by people, but only you have to work on it. Right? We have plethora of information everywhere. All self-help books are there. All podcasts are there. Right? Everything is out there. Still, it has to happen. It happens. So, that is what I have decoded, I would say. That the fear has to be trained upon. How you train it is by discipline. And for me, the smallest discipline would be to exercise at that particular time every day for 1 year. Not even 1 month. After 1 month.
Every day.
Every day.
No Sundays, no cheat days,
there is no cheat day.
No break day.
No break day. You go for a walk. That's also exercise, right? By workout, I don't mean gym jaake you do weights only. That is not possible for an entire week. The body needs time to recover. and you must be knowing about active recovery.
Of course.
So that's also workout, right?
Right.
It's a discipline that you have to get the movement in. There is yoga, there is stretching.
Yeah.
So every day, okay, some days things might not go your way.
Right.
And then I realized it the harsh way that don't go so hard on yourself. Don't go so hard on yourself, because it is not productive, and it comes back to you in a very bad way. Like I would say it becomes your ego first that you are doing this every day.
Correct. That's
Right?
the flip side.
That's the flip side.
When we talk of discipline, there is always this balance between going hard on yourself, pushing yourself, versus taking care of yourself,
Yes.
mental health, self-love.
Right.
And people seem to be on one side or the other.
Right.
And there is obviously a balance that is needed, because without either one, you as a human being cannot function.
Absolutely. That's why I said that also can become ego.
Right.
Every day I have to do every day.
Yeah.
So what I decoded from that was, after experiencing it,
Yeah.
that once your body is saying that please stop, if you are still in that disciplinary mode, instead of exercise you read something or you make something.
Right.
It's also an exercise of your mind now.
Yeah.
And exercise in the body is directly related to the mind. That's what I have experienced. Your body feels good, your mind clears up. There's a whole clarity
Yeah.
which comes up that, hey, I have done one thing now, I have focused. It's like focusing, right? Focusing on one thing, one muscle group, suppose.
Correct.
And then the mind clears up that what's the hurry of having so many things together in the day. Like, just focus on one, it's done, next. So that discipline, like meditation teaches you to focus on one thing, suppose your breath or your mantra, right? In the beginning you will start with meditation like this, to focus on one japa.
Yeah.
So that, because that's the beauty of the mind as well. It's a friend, it's the best friend.
Listening to you, I feel that I feel a sense of calm,
Yes.
because you sound like somebody who has been through pain, understood how to listen to your own body. And for me, that is a skill set that everyone should develop.
Absolutely.
Just the ability to listen to your body, understand what your body is saying,
Right.
understand, is your body really hungry or is it thirsty?
Right.
Understand, is your body sleepy?
Right.
Understand, does your body need rest or does your body need to work?
Right.
Just listening to your body is a skill set that
Skill set.
not a lot of people have cracked.
Yes, they have it. All the knowledge is with you, with everyone here, with
Yeah.
the whole world. The ego and the inputs continuously bombarded onto
Right.
you does not make you think. That's why I said, when I'm here on land, what I observe is you don't have time to think.
I think everybody listening to this podcast can relate to this. You don't have time to think. Let's talk about your creative journey, but in the larger context of your overall journey in as a sailor.
Right.
So, how did you start? How did you get here? And if there is somebody right now, a 16-year-old boy, do girls also join?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I'm so glad I asked
Yes.
you that question.
Yes.
So if there's a 15-year-old boy or girl
Yes.
who wants to join Merchant Navy,
Right.
what do they do? How did you do it?
Right.
And would you make any changes in how you did it? Did you make any mistakes that you wish you had avoided?
Right. I will take up the second question because that is important
Okay.
for the people who are listening. How to join Merchant Navy? There are few ways which are good and few ways which lead to a lot of scams, I would say, frauds, and you will lose a lot of money. A lot. Especially in Mumbai, things like these happen. So I want to touch up upon that.
Okay.
The three basic ways to join Merchant Navy as an officer or an engineer is through three programs called BSc Nautical Technology, which I did.
Okay.
It's a 3-year program. One is BTech Marine Engineering for people who want to join the engineering side. And one is Diploma in Nautical Science, where you study for 1 year here in an academy and go on ship for 18 months as training.
Okay.
Now the catch right now is the placements are very bad. You'll end up spending 14 lakhs in a BSc Nautical Science course, and you will be sitting at home for 2-3 years just to find a job. So my advice to all gentlemen and ladies watching this is to join the DNS program with a sponsorship. What happens is, before enrolling for the program, you can get sponsored by a company. Okay. So your job is fixed. And then you can perform well in your 1 year, and then they'll give you an internship, clear your seat time, and get you a ticket. The ticket is called like a pilot license.
Right.
Same as a sailing license.
Right.
So for that, there is so much fraud in the alternate ways.
That people are counterfeiting.
Yes. Suppose you get into BSc Nautical Science today.
Yeah.
Your father gave 14 lakhs for it.
Right.
And you're not placed. And you're sitting at home since 2 years. Yeah. You will do anything to get on a ship.
Of course.
And that's where fraud agents and all of these things start.
What do they do?
They'll tell you, I'm going to give you a ship, pay me 5 lakhs. Now there is something known as an RPSL, like a license for agencies, for companies.
Right.
Now people who don't have knowledge, they go into non-RPSL approved institutes, I would say.
Right.
And then government, nobody can help you.
Right.
If you have a valid RPSL document and you have gone through it, you can file a case. You have so many ways the other party is responsible for.
Right.
So this is one very, very big thing.
So to look for that RPSL tag.
You have to look for the RPSL tag.
Right.
Do the research of the company. Agents also, they might be good agents, I don't know, but you have to do a solid, thorough research of them.
Wow.
Right? This is very important. And
there are kids out there losing money on this, right?
Right now, Mumbai has so many cases in the police of agents taking away the money and never sending them on the ship.
Right.
Or they would send them in a Gulf area where the ship is standing on the shore for 3 years, unable to maneuver. Right? So
that's not what you join a marine.
Yeah, please be aware of this. That's why I said get sponsored first. Yeah. And if you want to be a navigator like me, go for the DNS program.
Yeah.
If you want to be a marine engineer, there are good institutes. You can do your research and then only join.
Have you done a video on this?
I have a book which just launched 2 months back. It's called How to Join Merchant Navy in India, where I have given all the procedures, all the courses.
Link will be in the description, guys.
So
go buy it.
If you want to check it out, you guys can check.
Incredible.
That was the sole purpose for me to do this, so that I can save at least few people who are in the 12th standard right now.
Right. Any mistakes that you did that you wish you had done differently?
I would say I was blessed that one of my cousin was in the profession.
Okay.
He told me to join this institute where I did my course, which was Tolani, which is in Pune.
Right.
It was a BITS Pilani institute that time. Right. And I got placed with my company on campus.
Okay.
So things went well because I had someone in the industry.
Right.
Most of the people might not have someone. That is where books, and I'm doing some videos, you can check them out, that what is the reality. Also, what mistake I made, I've corrected it through videos now, that I had no prior knowledge of what shipping looks like. I have never been to the sea and I am now a sailor. Right? That is the whole bridge which I wanted to, that is the whole gap which I wanted to bridge.
Right.
That's where I started making videos. It was for this sole reason.
Right.
I call it the ghost life. So I wanted to get the ghost life into normal people's life, and then they make a decision.
Yeah. How do you manage your day?
Yes. What I do is, the primary responsibility is to keep the ship safe, and the crew safe, and the environment safe, and the cargo safe.
Right.
Once that is covered, your mind should always be in this primary mode. The secondary, because it's life and death.
Right.
The secondary mode, where I talked about the 5 hours you have, is where, suppose you are interested in painting. I was interested in storytelling and cinematography to a certain extent.
Right.
So in that 3 hours from that, I dedicated to editing, suppose. And while you're on ocean voyages, you get time. So there are 2 types of voyages. I'll tell you in a short sentence. One is coastal voyage, one is ocean voyage.
Okay.
In a coastal voyage, you are going from port to port every day.
Right.
And it is very hectic because there is maneuvering involved. There are shore authorities, there is auditing, there is vetting, there is inspection. So your mind is always on the ship, safety, auditing, all that.
Yeah.
Once you are out, suppose going from Singapore to Brazil, which was my first ever voyage.
Singapore to Brazil is one hell of a...
8,000 or maybe 9,000 nautical miles. 9,000 into 1.8 will give you the
Wow.
kilometers. Will
Wow.
come roughly about 16,500, 17,000 kilometers.
Kilometers.
Covered in 30 days.
Whew.
So then you have time. You'll have time to maintain your equipment.
Right.
And then you have time to edit, suppose, for in my case. So I do everything there. So I put it on YouTube. So I have 5 videos ready. And then once I reach Brazil, because you cannot upload from the ship.
So over a month,
Yes.
you record.
I record.
You transfer all the files to your laptop. You
Yes.
have your editing software on
Right.
your laptop. You
Right.
edit.
I edit
You make everything ready.
everything, thumbnails,
What about getting things from the internet? You need images. You need...
self-reliance. That's where planning comes in handy. Suppose I'm in Singapore. I have 1 hour. I can download all the things which might be relevant for music, clip arts, all of that. You plan it. Self-reliance. This is what it teaches you. You are on the ocean. No doctors. No, no lovers.
Wow.
Yeah, no internet. You become self-reliant.
And so everything you have to plan ahead.
Plan way ahead. Execute, and execute. Because planning, I don't like that word sometimes because everybody's planning.
Right.
Everything you cannot plan even the next hour. It's just a thought. It's not even it's just a thought you've grasped upon.
Yeah.
That hey, this can work that
Right.
time. Plan can never go according to you. Just the rhythm can be felt and understood.
Right.
Right? This is what I think.
So you don't differentiate, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you don't differentiate between idea and planning. They're all part of the same thing.
It's all the same
The only
thing.
thing that matters is execution.
Only thing.
I love it.
Only thing.
Yeah.
Because there are billions of people have such beautiful ideas right now.
Yeah.
And perhaps only one will come up with a life-changing and a world-changing execution. Like
Right.
suppose let's say Elon Musk is thinking of Mars, he will do it.
Yeah.
He's executing as we speak.
Yeah.
Right? But some scientist somewhere in NASA suppose wants to go to... There are a lot of barriers, yes. There might be restrictions.
Yeah.
But the beauty of human beings is, once you realize it, infinite potential. Even I got inspired by this gentleman called Naveen Gulia.
Mm-hmm.
He was in his last phase of training to get into the special forces in the army.
Mm-hmm.
An obstacle course. He landed on his neck. And he got paralyzed neck down.
Right.
Right? Yet, after post-recovery, without limbs, he went to the highest motorable pass in the world. He improvised a car that can be driven. So he started getting his movement in the limbs.
Right.
Improvised a car. He became a chess expert. He qualified. He did so many degrees during that time.
Right.
The infinite potential.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's so many examples you all know. We all keep it.
Absolutely.
Infinite potential.
I have a neuroscientific take on this.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please tell me.
If you look at the human being as a brain and a spinal cord,
Mm-hmm.
our focus of consciousness, the seat of consciousness, at what level are we operating from, keeps changing.
Doctor said, I will have to ask you what is consciousness.
It is a big answer. I will try to simplify it as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We are creatures of interaction. We give out energy, we take in energy in the form of food, we take in energy, and then we give out energy in the form of movement, in the form of sound, in the form of touch, pressure. Throughout evolution, this has been the
Right.
story.
Mm-hmm.
The give and take of this energy is the story of consciousness. So consciousness is not one thing. Consciousness is a spectrum. at what level are we interacting with the universe around us dictates at what level of consciousness we are at.
Right. Can I say it in what I understood in
Yes.
It's just about experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Is what is defining our consciousness. Experiencing the give and take.
Yes.
Experiencing it.
So there are many creatures who experience it.
They all have consciousness.
They all have consciousness.
All.
But can they experience the experience?
Yes. Can they experience this? Is the gift which I think we have.
We have, which is called metacognition.
Okay.
So we are thinking, even dogs think, but can they think about the fact that they are thinking?
That's where I think
That's where
the distinction of the mind. Right.
So we have the capacity to detach ourselves and look at ourselves from a third person's perspective.
Wonderful.
And that is the gift of human intelligence.
Right. So many questions can arise from this.
Yeah.
See, just to clarify for the audience, right? How do you look at yourself from the third person perspective? I have done it. I can do it. It's just through knowledge.
Yeah.
It's just through knowledge. But when you say, look at yourself from a third person perspective, how absurd does it sound? Right? How absurd. Like, I'm sitting right here right now and looking at myself. And I can see it also.
You can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see myself talking right now.
Yeah.
Like it's
Your
all
hand is moving
hand
here.
moving here and there.
Yes.
It's all here. But I'm sure many people might be confused right now. Like when I have talked about it with the few people I know, and they are all thinking I'm crazy. But I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Who defines crazy, right? It's a more. I'm trying to touch more philosophy again.
There is, yes.
It's a subjective question again.
Yeah.
Then what do you think? What is right and wrong? Again, it's a so much subjectivity.
So when we talk about philosophy, this has been a constant challenge.
Right.
That it is a slippery slope. And so one of the mistakes I used to make as a younger person was I used to believe that getting to the result was very urgent.
Wow.
That I needed to understand and I needed to solve this problem. Later on, in fact, recently, 2-3 years ago, I realized that the urgency of getting to the solution was an ego problem.
Wow. So, I'll give another example for people to relate. Suppose I am giving you philosophy of Advaita Vedanta right now.
Yeah.
And you're not agreeing to it.
Yeah.
I'm doing this only for my ego.
Exactly.
That my ego says that, yes, you are right.
It's important for you that I agree with you.
Yes. And if you don't agree, my ego is hurt so bad.
Yeah.
So I was thinking on the same lines. That some knowledge, let me give it. Yeah. But that's also process of the ego.
Yeah.
Very, very fine line again. It's a razor's
very fine line.
Blade.
I'll tell you, I'll take that razor's blade to an even sharper edge.
Yes.
The more science I used to read, it became important to me to tell other people who are believers of God that this could be wrong. And then I realized that their belief systems, if it is insulting me, if it is attacking me, then that is a serious flaw in my ego. So, do I not have the space to allow somebody else to live the way they want, to believe what they want, without being attacked?
Wonderful.
And the more I thought like this, the more peaceful I felt. And I realized that this is what religion teaches.
Oh, wonderful. I wanted to get there.
So, this cycle of scientific knowledge leading me into religion has been an incredible journey for me.
Right. I mean, it's so powerful. I mean, if you experience it, for whoever is in... Religion is a word which has got many things attached to it right now.
Yeah.
That's why I would say go to a someone, guru, suppose, to learn it. Yeah. Because there are many beings who are teaching religion for their own ego,
Yeah.
like you were talking right now, for their own ego's satisfaction.
Yeah.
How to find that? You start reading the text first, the core of the essence of whichever religion. Could be the Quran, could be the Bible, could be the Bhagavad Gita, could be the Vedas, the Upanishad, but start.
Yeah.
And if you're not gelling with it, stop.
Yeah.
And whenever the time is right, it will come. So it's not to be forced upon.
Can I
Yes.
share a very basic conflict that I've had recently about spiritual gurus?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that whoever is enlightened would not do what a spiritual guru does.
Wonderful. I mean, yes, that's again a conflict.
It is a
Between-
conflict because then who will teach?
Right.
But I also feel that anybody who has attained that level of awareness will know that each human being is destined to live through their life and learn at the way that they will learn.
The enlightened being is what I think has
Yeah.
also his karma attached to his body, physical body right now.
Yeah.
So he also perform. Nobody can escape that.
Yeah.
Even Lord Krishna was here in a human form. He took the human. Wasn't he imparting knowledge to Arjuna?
He was.
Wasn't he? Does it
was.
not answer this question?
Yeah.
That
So why did he have to do
why
that?
did he have to do that?
Right.
We can question that, right?
Yeah.
The old mythology of in the Hinduism,
You are right.
right? Doesn't it make sense now that
You are right.
see, I will just say this is my last words in my head. It's called Tattvamasi. That is you.
Yeah.
Arjuna is also Lord Krishna. He says that in the Gita.
Yeah.
Only the ego is covering it up,
Preventing.
preventing
Yeah.
it. He's trying to break free from that, and that comes through knowledge. And Lord Krishna is providing that knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Similar way, yes, at that time, when Lord Krishna was there, many people must not consider him. Like Arjuna was not considering an enlightened being, right?
Yeah.
Same way, right now, there might be saints and sages giving us wisdom, knowledge.
Right.
And right now, our ego is not letting us think that he is enlightened. How is he? How is it possible?
That is true.
Don't you? We can think the opposite way as
That
well,
is
right?
true.
Does it answer that
That is
conflict?
true. That is true.
Right.
Until you can look at a sage and another person and look at everybody and think they're all doing what they have to do.
Yes.
It is your ego playing a
Yes,
role.
it is so fine that
Yeah.
Gurudev, he says that even a scratch of ego, if it remains, you will come back
Yeah.
to nullify that.
Yeah.
Even a scratch of ego.
You know what I love about this conversation is that we have had very different lives.
Right.
It is as different as could be.
Land and sea.
Right. It's as different as land and sea. But this proves something that I've always suspected, that life teaches us all the same lessons.
All the same.
If you're willing to learn, you will learn those lessons whether you're in the middle of a forest,
Right.
whether you're in the middle of the sea,
Right.
whether you are in a village in Bihar, whether you are living in New York.
Right.
Wherever you are, life will teach you the same lessons, and we are all going to meet in the same place.
This answers the first question I was talking about, a disconnect. So it had to circle around
Yeah.
where everything says is detachment. Even Lord Krishna is saying detach from the results
Yeah.
of everything. Work.
Yeah.
But so this loop which we
Yeah.
followed was for me the answer to what I was trying to
Yeah.
answer at the question which was imparted by you onto me,
Yeah.
and which I only made a question that how to detach right now.
Yeah.
The flow.
And what makes it beautiful for me is that in this conversation of disconnect,
Right.
we have somehow connected
Everything.
everything.
My aspects as a sailor, your aspects as a
Right.
neuroscientist. Because you said neurosurgeons are different.
Yes.
So I had to correct myself. So as a neuroscientist with
Right.
so many years of studies,
Right.
and I think you've done a master's also in it,
Yes.
right? So much knowledge from the world which has evolved to this stage of neuroscience.
Yeah.
Having that, for me, no knowledge of neuroscience, but having knowledge of the sea, that's it, as a navigator, leading me to spiritual understanding.
Yeah.
And the best part is, even if you have all the understanding, you still have to live in this world and be in this material world.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't want to, that's also your ego again coming in. That I want to go to the Himalayas now and become a...
Okay. That I am not meant for all of this is also an ego thing.
Right? It's a stage. We are all in different stages of evolution. The
Right.
evolution of mind.
A truly evolved person
A true
would
yogi.
be themselves. A true yogi would be themselves wherever they are.
Wherever
They
they are.
wouldn't need to go to the Himalayas.
Absolutely.
They could be staying in a flat in Bombay, paying their rent,
Right.
and still be there.
Right. Just like Arjun. He had to kill his gurus. He had to perform that battle.
Yeah.
Because I've read that text and it is so powerful.
Yeah.
And it is not religion. It is practically applicable.
It's action. It's an
happening.
action-oriented book.
Yeah, it's happening right now as we
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
This knowledge
Yeah.
is coming through only Krishan ji.
Yeah.
I am no one. I'm just the instrument delivering this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're just instruments. You are the instrument.
It's that book is extraordinary.
Yes. I don't mean to say ki go read it. If you are interested
Yeah.
and if it comes to you.
During the pandemic, I did this entire series of Neuroscience of Bhagavad Gita,
Okay.
where I was reading the Bhagavad Gita,
Mhm.
but as a neuroscientist
Right.
and trying to understand each verse
Mm-hmm.
from the perspective of does this make sense from current scientific evidence?
Right.
And I was amazed at how much of it made sense
Wow.
when Lord Krishna was talking about conflict
Mm.
and how we react to conflict, when he was talking about anxiety,
Mm.
when he was talking about senses and the pleasure that we associate with senses.
Mm.
All of these things make absolute sense. I can translate them into a neuroscience
Terms.
textbook and it would still hold up.
Wow. So powerful. See, I really admire Swami Vivekanand ji because what he was saying in 1896 in Chicago
Yeah.
was so powerful. Like it was relatable with the modern world of that time.
Yeah.
He was giving context with the modern world
Yeah.
because the scriptures are so ancient that they can be cross-questioned by science right now.
Right.
But he was bridging that gap
Yeah.
by relating to it. If someone is interested, they can definitely check 1896 speech in Chicago of Swami Vivekanand ji.
I have. It's
You
beautiful.
have, it's beautiful.
One parameter of truth, I believe, is consistency. That when truth is subjective. Truth is also a spectrum.
Absolutely.
Something can be less true and more true.
Wonderful.
So how do you know if something is more true? Is can you take that and apply it to more and more and more fields,
Right.
and it would still be true.
Absolutely.
That's how you know that you are reaching a universal truth.
Right. I mean, this conflict I was having in my mind one day, that if Brahman is the ultimate truth,
Yeah.
then if we reach there, then there can be more truths. It's just food for thought.
Right.
But if Brahman is infinite, then there can be no dualities.
Yeah.
But how to distinguish infinite? If there's a part of it, then it's already not infinite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, these are words and these are speculation philosophies.
Exactly.
The truth can only be experienced.
Right.
It is there. It is very much. It can be experienced. Every second you can experience it if you're open to it.
So one of the beautiful things about the mind and language is
Yes.
that words will only come when there's a need for them.
There's a need for it. Right.
Until you experience something, there's no need for that word.
Silence is the truth. And
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms not just sitting quiet, silence of the mind as well.
Right.
Silence of the ego. You silence it out and you see the experience of the truth. And it is there. It is there.
Oof, incredible.
It is there to be experienced.
That phrase of work is worship, and through work you can achieve meditation and mindfulness.
Right.
You embody that.
Body that.
Your entire story has been one of finding peace of mind through discipline.
To discipline. And believe me, all the philosophy will talk about discipline. Of bhakti is also a discipline.
Yes.
Karma yoga is discipline.
Yes.
Raj yoga, jnana yoga. It's all discipline. That every day the monks will go and do their prayers. They'll read. They'll discuss. at the same time for ages, for lifetimes.
Yeah.
And that is only through discipline.
If you have to leave this conversation, leave our listeners with one way
Mm-hmm.
to maintain discipline
Mm-hmm.
that has helped you
Right.
just keep on track when you waver,
Right.
something that brings you back to that central line.
Right.
What is that?
I will relate it with the chemicals produced from the hormones.
Okay.
When you exercise, there is a burst of chemicals which you can tell if it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Attach to it for now.
Okay.
Because that feeling, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
That hormone for the exercise.
Yeah.
For me, I do this only.
Yeah.
That chemical or whatever I call it
Yeah.
makes me feel really good.
Right.
Gives me power. Gives me control of my life. In that particular moment.
Right.
It fades off eventually.
Right.
It will fade off. But live for that seconds. Just live for
Amazing. Got
Right.
it.
that. Just live for those seconds. For that moment once you finish your pull-ups.
Yeah.
And then you feel powerful. And you've done something for yourself and your body is feeling powerful.
Yeah.
And then the momentum and the chain reaction starts unfolding itself. Might be studies. Might be suppose creativity.
Yeah.
Might be in the traffic also in Mumbai.
Yeah.
If I have that discipline, at that moment I will feel so blessed thinking about suppose what I learned in the morning during that workout. Suppose I was on a podcast and I can think otherwise my mind will be in negativity, honking, somebody giving galis, somebody is spitting here and there. It will the inputs,
Welcome to Bombay.
it will be bombarded. It is bombarding onto you.
Yeah.
But you as a yogi, in a disciplined man, you observe it.
Yeah.
But in the mind you are contemplating the real. You see crystal clear what's happening,
Yeah.
and not think in your own pre-fed thoughts. Ki this is bad, this is good.
Correct.
Just look clearly with the reality. It takes time to talk about like this. Is very easy to apply it. I can endorse and say it'll be 1000x stuff. You'll require so many help from so many teachers, from so many mediums, so many scripts, and I am just perhaps maybe 5% into this right now. I'm just 5% into this. I'm just getting into it. Oh, this is something.
Yeah.
Right? I don't declare that I have done it. I am just 5% into it, and it has helped me in all my relationships, in all my material success, what we call, in all my creation success. Success is also relative, but what I was 6 years back in relation to that, my success has only been helped possible because of discipline and knowledge of, for me, was through the ancient texts.
And
No.
your physical discipline.
And the
the
physical
act of
discipline.
exercising.
And the act of exercising. And that is what and one more thing.
Yes.
Eat healthy. By that, I mean, eat whatever your body demands first. In the sense, don't overeat it. And eat as much as possible home cooked food.
Such a simple thing.
And cut out sugar. That's it.
Incredible. Karanveer, you are an inspiration, brother. Thank you so much for coming in. This was the Sid Warrior Podcast. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation. Follow him. Check out his vlogs. They're incredible. The book link is going to be in the description. Check it out. If you are interested in joining the Merchant Navy, or if somebody you know is interested, you need to read this. And I will see you all in the next episode. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Karan.
Thank you, Dr. Sid.
See you. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Karanveer Singh Nair. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know who else would you like to see on this podcast. I'm Dr. Sid Warrior. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you soon. Bye. Take care, everyone.